You cannot stand on a platform like this and not think about who allowed you and the events that allowed you to be here. I want to thank everyone who made this possible, Sarah, Amy, President Bloom, for me to stand in front of you and make some very quick comments, because I realize I am between you and your degrees at Swarthmore. And I doubt very much you really came here to listen to me. I have to wave to my grandson. With some luck, Alex will be in the Swarthmore class of 2023. And my son, who always keeps me grounded, when I got the phone call saying that I would be conferred this degree, he said, "Mom, are you sure? You already got a degree, and they don't give a graduate degree in law or science." Anyway, I have to tell you that at times like this, you do pause and reflect and think about the people that really influenced your life. And I want to tell you just 4 very short stories. I had 2 professors that I remember so clearly. One of them has already been mentioned, Hedley Reese. He was the professor who introduced me, a science major, to the history of art. Every single lecture was a performance by the best scholar, the best teacher, the best performer. Every single one was an analysis of art and art history that made me realize that the rigor with which you create art, with which you analyze art, is as challenging as discovery in the science world. His sense of generosity was to spend as much time with me as with any art major, and I will never forget that generosity. The second person I want to talk to you about is another professor that I had here at Swarthmore, Robert Enders. The 2 opposites. Robert Enders probably never gave a real lecture. All he did was to present a few concepts with the true understanding that if he didn't tell you and you had to learn it on your own, you would not only learn the facts and concepts, but you would learn how to learn. And what I remember most about him was the wonderful teas that he used to have with his wife, Abby, at their home every Sunday afternoon. There were small groups of people who came and who really enjoyed his hospitality. But most of all, we talked about the important things that were going on in the world. I got here in 1963. Half my class was in jail for, 10% of my class was in jail, not half, for demonstrating in Chester against George Wallace. It was a tumultuous time, as you can imagine. It was the time when Kennedy and Martin Luther King actually gave their lives in the pursuit of public service, in understanding that generosity of spirit, generosity of intellect was absolutely key. The third person I want to tell you just a little bit about is someone I just met 3 years ago, Bill Gates Sr. He is the father of the Bill Gates that you all know, the president of and the founder of Microsoft and also the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Bill Gates Sr. is 83 now, and I know him because he serves as a member of the Board of Regents and also as the head of our foundation, our UW Foundation. He is about 6'5", with a stentorian voice, a presence that is amazing. But what I really respect from him is his generosity. In his mid-70s, after retiring as a co-founder of a very well-respected law firm in Seattle, he became the first chairman of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation at its nascent period and has had a lot to do with the crafting of their global health and their global development initiatives. He's been deeply involved in child development from birth all the way on, understanding that learning is so important at the very early stages. He was critical, and is, to the crafting of our federal laws to continue to tax estates of the very wealthy. I think that I admire him for his indefatigable energy, his generosity, his respect for people who are far less fortunate than we are. But I think what really is important in him is his generosity of time, of spirit, and intellect. And finally, I just want to tell you a few sentences about my own mother, who came here as a young adult from China to continue her education and was supposed to go back to China with my father on December 12th, 1941. And when they bombed Pearl Harbor, she and my father created a life here in the United States and made possible for me and my sister to have opportunities that would never have been able for her to have. She too, I think I remember her most for her generosity. So if I were to give any humble advice to you, the graduating class of 2008, it would be to be generous. Be generous with your time, your intellect, your spirit, your heart. The challenges that will face you are, if anything, more daunting than the ones that have faced me during my lifetime. The environment, global health, education, regardless of whether or not you are able. Take on these pursuits with great generosity. Give with your spirit, your heart, your intellect. You are uniquely qualified to do this. And then take time for yourselves so that you can give even more generously. Congratulations, class of 2008.